guys, we're going to take a look at an ACT test. This is one that you have not done. This particular test is test 71E. It is from December of 2013. So I will put the file for it on your Google Classroom if you would like to print it out and try it first. But I'm going to try to work through as many problems as I can on this test for those of you who would like to see one more ACT before you take the test this week. All right, number one says this: there are 42 tuna and 49 salmon in a fish tank. What is the ratio of tuna to salmon? So there's 42 to 49, and that reduces. 7 can go into both 42 and 49, so 7 goes into 42 6 times, 7 goes into 49 7 times. The ratio would be 6 to 7, so my answer would be C. Make sure you read the question. Sometimes they'll say tuna to salmon. Sometimes they'll say what's the ratio of salmon to tuna. In that case, it'd be 7 to 6. They could say tuna to total fish. So then you'd have to add up the 42 and 49 to get that total number of fish and then reduce that ratio. So make sure you just read the question. These shouldn't be extremely difficult as long as you're using the numbers or the items that they ask you about. Number 2. The only solution to this equation is x equals 6. So what is C? So if x is 6, what I'm going to do is and I don't know why these blue dots are here, but I'm afraid if I write on it, it's going to mess up. So I want to plug in 6 for x. So 6 minus 2 times 6 minus 10 equals C. So that's 4. 6 minus 2 is 4. 6 minus 10 is negative 4. So 4 times negative 4 is C. So C would have to be negative 16, which is F. All right, number 3. All right, what I would do here is before I start working it, if you haven't printed it out and tried it yourself, why don't you pause the video, try it, and then unpause it and watch me work it out. Okay, so pause it. All right, and then come back. Samantha, Larry, and Maria own shares of stocks in the Plentiful Peanuts Company. Samantha owns 50 shares, Larry owns 30 shares, and Maria owns 70 shares. Today, the value of one share of Plentiful Peanuts stock is $4.05. What is the total value of Samantha's, Larry's, and Maria's shares of Plentiful Peanuts stock? Okay, I'm going to use a calculator on this. So we have 50 shares and 30 shares and was it 70 shares and 70 shares. So that means altogether between the three of them they have 150 shares. If each share is $4.05, then the total value of that would be times $4.05 is $607.50. That is E. All right, next, number 4. And I don't know how far I'm going to go on this video. I'm going to do about 10 minutes, and then I will stop it and start another video so that you don't have these really, really long videos. Okay, so they want us to multiply powers with like bases. So 5p to the 6 times 3p squared. 5 times 3 is 15. And p to the 6 times p to the second is p to the 8th. That's how it works when you add up the exponents, because it's like you have 5 times, and then I'd list this out, 6 of them, 3, and then another 2p. So I end up with really 5 times 3, which is 15, and then total all these up. I have 8p, so p to the 8th power. 15p to the 8th. My answer is J. All right, number 5. How much time have I taken? Okay, number 5. Simeon ordered graduation announcements from Announcements and Notes. He was charged $35 for his announcements. It was charged 8% of that amount for shipping. How much was Simeon charged for his announcements and shipping? All right, so let me figure out the shipping cost. So come over here. $35, 8% shipping is times 0.08. Make sure you don't do 0.8 because that'd be 80%. So he had to pay $2.80 for shipping. So $35 for the announcements, and I don't have to put 0.0, I can just put 35. And $2.80 for shipping. And that means he paid a total of $37.80 for his announcements and shipping. All right, number 6. A jar contains only 11 red balls, 9 yellow balls, 5 green balls, and N white ball. Each ball is a solid color. What's the probability the ball randomly chosen from the jar is yellow? Okay, there are 9 yellow balls out of a total of 11 plus 9 plus 5 plus n. That doesn't look like plus. So 25 plus n on the bottom and 9 on the top. 25 plus n on the bottom. That's the total number of balls. And 9, there are 9 yellow ones. So 9 out of 25 plus n. And I don't see that. So let me scroll on down here. My answer is K. Whoa, I don't want to be writing that. Okay, number 7. Each of the following xy coordinate planes shows the graph of a quadratic function. Only one of the functions has no real zeros. Which one? And that would be A. The real zeros is where it crosses the x-axis. So this has 1 real zero. This one has 2 real zeros. This one has 2 real zeros. Hopefully you remember this from Algebra 2. And this one has 2 real zeros. So only A doesn't have any real zeros. It would have imaginary zeros, and that's where your complex numbers would come into play. All right, number 8. How are we doing on time? All right, still good. On a certain day in 2008, the population of the United States was estimated to be 303,488,509. Which of the following values is closest to this estimate? All right, so they're writing it in scientific notation. I can use my calculator to do that, but honestly, it's easier here just to count. So for scientific notation, you go from here to just behind the first number. So 3.03 times 10 to the, let's count how many places we moved it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 10 to the 8th power. 3.03 times 10 to the 8th. Number 9. In the figure below, line AB is parallel to line CD, and FG intersects AB at J and K respectively. Which of the following equations must be true? Okay, here's how this works with parallel lines. All of these angles are the same. I'll put like 1s in these. These are all the same. I just did that wrong. Oh, get the eraser. Okay. All of these are the same. This one and this one and this one and this one. They're all the same. And then all the obtuse ones are the same. And anytime you have an acute and an obtuse, together they add up to 180. Just like these two would add up to 180, so would x and y. So my equation is going to be that x plus y has to add up to 180. I don't know a lot about the other. I don't know if it's half of y, or I know they're not equal because one's acute and one's obtuse. I can see that. And anytime you have a parallel line, either the angles are going to be equal or they're going to add up to 180. So that becomes an easy choice here in this one. All right, these two are congruent. AB is congruent to BC, and AE intersects C at BF at C. So what's the measure of angle B? Well, if this angle is 31 degrees, because of vertical angles, this would have to be 31 degrees. Vertical angles are equal. And isosceles triangles, which is what this is, because two sides are equal, have to have 2 equal angles. The 2 base angles are the same. And your 3 angles inside of a triangle add up to 180. So 31 and 31 add together to give you 62. Subtract 62 from 180 and you get this angle B has to be 118. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and do one more. What is this expression equal to? We're going to use this really cool feature on our calculator. If you don't have it, then what I suggest is the old-fashioned way. Do 7 plus 1/5 and get an answer. Do 1 plus 1/10 and get an answer, and then divide. But if you have the newer calculator, then I can go here, alpha y equals, I can choose a fraction, and on the top I'm going to do 7 plus, and I'll do another fraction, 1/5. I think that's what it was. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. And on the bottom, it's going to be 1 plus 1/10. And this should give me the answer all the way. There's really cool things these calculators will do. No telling what they'll do by the time you guys have kids, because my calculator certainly wouldn't do this when I was in school. Alright, 7 plus 1/5 in the numerator, 1 plus 1/10 in the denominator. When I do that, I get 72/11ths, but when I look up here at the choices, that's not any of the choices. The choices are all mixed numbers. Now, I can do 72/11ths in my head. Like, how many times is 11 going to 72? Well, 11 We go into 72 6 times, so that'd be 66, and I'd have 6 left over. So that's going to be 6 and 6/11ths. But let's say I don't want to think about it. I can ask the calculator to do it. So go back to alpha y equals, and it's going to be number 3. Change it from a numerator over a denominator to a mixed number. So this says take the answer, change it from an improper fraction to a mixed number, and it gives you 6 and 6/11ths. I'm going to go ahead and pause this video here. That's 11 problems, and I will pick up where we left off.